What's up, guys? It's Richie Rich back yet again, and I'm joined by a very special guest. Introduce yourself.
Xavi Hernz.
It's RichManZ with Xavi Hernz. In this video, we're going to be talking cinema. We're going to be talking about one of cinema's greatest movie actors of all times, and it can only possibly be the great Samuel L. Jackson. Be sure to check this out. Like Samuel Jackson is like, as to many, like a very big legend in like not in just black movie cinema, but in cinema in general. Like first time I saw Samuel L. Jackson was in the 1989 Spike Lee's hit racial drama film Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing. Yeah, Spike Lee, 1989.
1989.
That was 7 years before I was born.
Damn.
So you can work out how old I am.
Yeah.
And him, I don't know.
I think
don't know
he was
if
like a year.
He might. He looks like he was around then.
Really?
So, Ozzy
like
Davis, Ruby D, Richard Edson, Giancarlo Esposito.
But the thing with that was like one of Spike Lee's like big films at the time.
That's one of his masterpieces, man.
Yeah.
Focus on the racial tension in a Brooklyn neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
you never got
at Sal's.
When
Sal's. Brothers on the wall. Brothers on the wall, man.
Bugging out.
Bugging out, man.
It like,
classic.
I want to put some on that wall and that. But what did you think of Samuel L. Jackson's performance in Do the Right Thing? Because I remember he was the radio personality.
He was the guy. It's mad to think he was credited as Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson. So this is one of the only times in that. But all I remember is, when I first saw him in Do the Right Thing, it's like he really shouts his lines really loud.
Yeah.
He's like, yo!
Yeah.
Time out! Yo, take a chill!
We don't know he had a speech impediment and stuff, so early on in his career, that when you see Samuel L. Jackson say motherfucker and stuff like that, so he could get his words out. Stuff like that. And that's something which you see and Do the Right Thing.
Exactly.
But it wasn't,
his performance was kind of like he was one of the supporting characters, isn't it? But still, it was still Spike Lee, Rosie Perez,
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, Sal was played by Danny Aiello. Yeah. So
he passed away not too long ago, just before Christmas.
Great actor, but in
Italian Americans,
in the mafia. But like in Do the Right Thing, Samuel Jackson was that supporting actor, but you could still see he had this kind of burst of like, energy and like that screen presence, and you could see like in movies shortly after he appeared and that he started to get bigger roles and in some movies he started to be cast as the lead. Yeah.
I'd say the Radio Raheem character was iconic because there's even a lot of people don't know there's a reporter now and his name and he calls himself Radio Raheem.
Right now.
That's
like 30 years ago from
Samuel Jackson's character, obviously, the radio station. He has he makes a song during the end of the film, which is dedicated to Radio Raheem. So man, I think he had a good performance. Yeah. Only if you knew how many times I've seen this.
How many times have you seen?
Where's the Dutch of Valley? Only if you knew, about those songs there. But double figures.
I've seen Do the Right Thing maybe several times. So like moving on from Do the Right Thing, we go to like the 90s eras, and one of the biggest films from the 90s, kind of like a controversial film, and Spike Lee again, it was the 1991 interracial romance film Jungle Fever, starring Wesley Snipes and Annabella Sciorra,
Ozzy Davis,
and Ruby D, the Planet of Heaven and that, and
John Turturro,
so Samuel L. Jackson in that film, he was that kind of
interracial.
Interracial. But it's an actual real important film because powerful,
obviously back in the 90s that wasn't accepted. A lot of man would be on the skeptic wave and say that's not me.
Like if you see Kim and Kanye now, that stuff wasn't that wasn't like the norm in the 90s. Usually like some families used to just kind of abandon when they found out like their white daughter was dating a black guy. You know, they used to get crucified. There's even an opening montage in the scene of a black guy losing his life, young black kid losing his life for dating a white woman. Yeah. So at that time, you know, things were very, very...
Even up to the other day, I was watching Sky Sports, and Paul Ince is the first black man to captain England. He even spoke about how when he was growing up, obviously, like, he was married to a white woman.
Yeah, he's got
son's mixed race, Thomas, and it just wasn't accepted back then. So and that was in '93, and this film, as we said, come out in '91. And but the performance of Samuel Jackson. You know what's mad? I thought it was about feet, because his name is Gator.
Gator, that's the guy. To the Gators, hold you to the Gators.
I just see him going.
Yeah, it's something and that.
Money.
But it's
money. So but he
stole the show. He stole the whole thing, because I feel like every actor in there brought like a great it's level performance.
Because I would say the storyline itself is quite basic, but in a sense with the Boys in the Hood, if you take Ice Cube out of that film,
it's like a standard like crime hood film.
Samuel Jackson. It's just a scene where like where we see him in the crack house.
That one is very deep. You know that, like when he comes in, And Halle Berry, I forgot. Oh my gosh, Halle Berry was the girl who was I think Gator's girlfriend.
Catwoman.
Yeah, Storm from X-Men.
All of that.
You know, but it just shows like these at that time a lot of these that was their early starts. You know, like Wesley was, I think Wesley did like King of New York before, but this is before Blade. You know, this is before
like went on to do New Jack City.
New Jack City, you know what I mean?
Ice-T.
And then even like Halle Berry, she didn't at this time. She only did Jungle Fever and I think Strictly Business. So a lot of the actors you see in like Jungle Fever, they were on the rise, but stunning performance from, you know, Monsieur Samuel Jackson. You know, it's a shame. He couldn't live to meet the credits in the end of the film. No spoilers.
Yeah,
you know,
he was a real crack addict. You know what I mean? Often pestering his brother for that money, and his brother just feels obliged because he's the younger brother.
It's that blood.
Look after his older brother. You know what I mean? He's got a good job, and you know.
But you see through the film like how that kind of messes up just because of the affiliation with the woman. You know, but
it feels like he was acting like something was missing out of his household. You
know? Some white sheet.
Yeah, you should be careful. Like all the man to be careful, because you don't want to be chucked out, and you don't want to be on this Adele thing, which is, you know, chasing pavements.
So I'm saying, just keep it at home. Keep it at home. You know? So like on to the next big film that really defined like not just Samuel Jackson's career but the 90s was Pulp Fiction, directed by Quentin Tarantino, which came out in 1994. You know,
how old was you?
At that time, man, I was like nursery time. You know, so maybe it wasn't not maybe. I was definitely too young to watch it at that time.
Sorry, going off Samuel Jackson, went to Tarantino, 94. Now, you have to bear in mind, 1993, he brought out one of my favourite films, True Romance, Christian Slater.
Bro.
93.
Bro,
and the year after, did you say Pulp Fiction? And the year after that, Reservoir Dogs.
It's a legendary collection. Forgive me, members of the Rich team, I've not seen True Romance. Like, I know, honestly, if you have to, I will have to pattern, you know what I mean? But I've seen, like, Reservoir Dogs and, you know, of course, like
Reservoir Dogs, Steve Buscemi.
Honestly, and that. But like on terms of like Samuel Jackson, like this is now his first lead role, isn't it? Alongside John. You would say that, isn't it? I would say, but
one thing I'll say is that it's a joke. When you see it, Samuel Jackson, he got nominated. I'm sure this is the only film he's been nominated for Oscar, and it was as a supporting role. But then. John Travolta, he got nominated, but he got nominated for lead actor.
Oh, for real? So they put so he was like
you could work out why.
What the magical black sidekick?
This is very much a black comedy. Tarantino's masterpiece, I say. There's a lot of humor in it.
Do you love the way? Speaking of the film, do you love the way how it cuts to the 6 like different stories, but they're like intertwined. Do you love the full? Because I'd never seen that before in any big
there's another
film. You know
film
what I mean?
there's another film with James Franco and what's his other? James Franco, Liam Neeson. It's called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and that's a similar sort of thing. It's that anthropology sort of thing.
Oh right.
What kind of put together?
Yeah,
and this is a similar sort of thing, man. Man, you got what's his name from Baby Boy, Ving Rhames.
And that.
He's a legend, man. I always see him getting mashed up in every film.
I don't even. I want to keep it PG. But with Samuel Jackson, like that's the first scene, isn't it? When him and John Travolta they come into the guy's apartment and
Samuel Jackson, I think
Jericho,
Jericho.
No nonsense attitude.
I was watching an interview with like MC Harvey from Soul Solid Crew, 21 Seconds, all that, and he said back in like the mid-90s, he was wearing the Jericho. And later on in the interview, he spoke about Pulp Fiction. So let's see how let's hope the character don't inspire him to do that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, let's hope not.
Wait up, he's done with.
But like, I believe Samuel Jackson in that scene, it really showed it showed a lot of like his kind of isms. As I said, like when you see him do the right thing, he's a guy who really expresses like a lot of like loudness and rage. Like Samuel Jackson is in the room, and in that scene in Pulp Fiction, you recognize like this guy's in the room, he's in command, he's in charge. Like when he comes in and he just takes that bite of that burger and he's like, that is a tasty burger.
That is a tasty burger.
And he's got them not scared, like, shitless. You know what I mean? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, them guys just like,
no, it's just presence.
Presence.
And
P.
It's hard not to give so much away because you just need to watch.
I know.
You need to watch
even though it's almost like 25 years ago, you wouldn't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. But definitely one of
Keitel as well. He plays the cleaner.
He's the cleaner, isn't it? When
when you still see his adverts, it's like he's still earning money off Pulp Fiction 25 years later.
That's
crazy,
how great.
Man.
That's how great that
This
film
is. Powerful. Mia Wallace, Wiz Khalifa has a mixtape called. No, he has a song called Mia Wallace on a.
Even Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken even appears in it. He's about the watch. The watch. You know what I mean? He talks about the watch.
That's quite a good impression.
I got this watch many times ago, and my father gave it to me. That's my best Chris Walken. But therefore summarize.
Samuel Jackson. The role was originally for Lawrence Fishburne, but he turned it down. So I think it's Higher Learning. I think this is the year after
Deep Cover. That's a legend. I love Deep Cover. But I watched it. Deep Cover is a great film. Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. That's a great film. But
when Samuel Jackson comes into the
in that faint scene and that.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. Boy, I'm just seeing him in that suit. It's just it's the presence, man.
It's a boss scene. Even Nelly, it's like I don't want to spoil too much if no one hasn't seen it. I would only say if you haven't seen Pulp Fiction, do what you can to watch it. It maybe even be on Netflix.
It could be.
It could be. Honestly, definitely watch it because it's one of the most creative films of the 90s. It's very
say is a standout performance from Samuel Jackson and I say Bruce Willis.
He was very good in the film. Because honestly, not to really dope on Bruce. After Die Hard, like, wouldn't you say like this is like the big, you know what I mean? Because he had
What I'll say about Bruce Willis in this film? Zed's dead.
Zed's dead. I'm not gonna talk anymore about Zed, man. Honestly, I know about cancel culture, man. Like, I ain't trying to get with that. So like a year after, like one of like my favorite films of the 90s and of just like the whole kind of trilogies, the third installment, Die Hard 3, titled Die Hard with a Vengeance, starring Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson plays Zeus.
This is I didn't talk about that opening scene where he was
I know what you're
the man
gonna
that was
say.
running in the shop or something.
Oh, that one. Oh, he's got the sign.
Yeah,
I said, I hate.
I hate. That's not too cool.
I don't want to say.
But
Yeah.
but there's a scene where they get away there in the cab. you see a young. He looks so young.
Yeah.
95
So
Samuel Jackson.
he's like
and
McClane.
got his glasses on and the Bruce Willis is mash up as you see the first time.
But you know,
and he's like, hey Zeus.
Hey Zeus.
Why
call you Zeus?
Why can we hate Zeus?
I'm from a line of voice.
They're asking the guy for this Puerto Rican, but Bruce Willis, his character McClane was calling him, was trying to say. He was like, oh, those guys they're calling Jesus. Like, no, they were calling me. Yeah. My name is Zeus. They were saying, hey, Zeus. And that's just iconic. Like, that scene there. Man.
In that film, I keep saying, like, he carries such a kind of that commanding presence, you know. Yeah. In that film, he's a teacher, I think. Yep. Yeah.
Zeus
He's a teacher in is it Harlem? I think it's Harlem when you first meet him, and he follows like John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, you know, throughout the whole movies to like the finale.
That was the highest grossing film of 1995.
You know what I mean? And it's just I just love like there's a scene when you know I think it's Simon, you know, he's put like the multiple bombs on like the trains, and he's like Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson on the run saying, you know, Jeremy Irons, they got to like deactivate this bomb, and he goes to the phone and one of the police tells him, you know, stick up, like freeze, you know, and Samuel Jackson's like, if you're gonna shoot me, go ahead and shoot me, but I have to answer this phone, you know. It was brilliant, you know, and honestly, I
and you know, this scene is like, you know, it kind of not. It doesn't. It's not a film which plays the race card, but I remember this scene, where McClane was saying to Zeus, "Oh, you don't like me because I'm white."
And he says,
"No, I don't like you because you're gonna get me killed." That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you think they could get away with that now? Like how they put because they put a lot of race in that, you know, and it is the 90s. Do you think they could get away with that now in this era? Or not? You know what I mean?
Well, in America, they seem to get away with stamping on people's necks. So,
well, this is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's just less subtle now.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It brings in, but yeah, it's a film which it's a role which Samuel Jackson plays well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the NYPD, you know what I mean. There's a lot of that's included in a lot of these films. You know what I mean? Just that, the Wall Street subway stations, which is those subway stations is prevalent in a lot of American films, especially In the Pursuit of Happiness. You know what I mean? The first. Let's not talk about that film, man.
But that film Diary has a nice like kind of landscape settings. You know, when they're kind of searching for like where Jeremy Irons, you know, placed these bombs. You know, it's a great landscape of New York. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And it's a lot of even the cinematography was good.
That's it. Yeah.
And you know, I'd say even when you see the what's that guy's name? But yeah, they talk in German.
Yeah. Cool. So like moving on from
we're in the noughties now.
We're in the noughties now, and one film that's very fun to both me and the X-Man has to be Mother Kanajin Snakes on Mama Kanajin Plays. It can only be 2005 smash 2006 to correct that. 2006 smash hit Snakes on a Plane.
You know, remember when I was in school this time, the internet buzz around this film was just it's crazy. Mad hype.
Man. You know, I was in like the last, I think, secondary school. So secondary school / high school. So you saw all them the theatrical like posters, you know, on billboards or when you go on those bus stands. So everywhere it shows, you know, it just shows Samuel Jackson, like his name, and just Snakes on a Plane. So you didn't really know like what the film's
going to touch on his character. He plays an FBI agent called Neville. That's to protect a guy called Sean on his flight from LA.
And the main premise of it takes on the flight. That's the main. Like,
that's the setting. Movie, you know, of establishing shots, you know.
Yeah, because I've never been too much of a big fan of like, you know, plane movies. You know what I mean? I've seen like Passenger 57, which is Wesley Snipes.
I'd say it's more of I suppose the younger generation, the youngers watching it, they might be a bit scared of the snakes, but it's more of an action thriller than a horror. I'd say.
Exactly.
Films. There's definitely a distinction between them. There's a lot of action, from one of the opening scenes with Samuel Jackson.
So chasing
the
that
words,
dude.
the words he says, do as I say, you'll live. Remember that scene, man?
That's at the beginning, because forgive me, like I've seen this like
a long time ago.
Couple times. I saw it when it first released, not on cinema, on DVD, but like then I saw it one time on Netflix. But I've always known like again how Samuel Jackson rose, from like starting off in the late 80s to 90s and now 2000s, the star main leading character, and he kind of carries this film, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he definitely does. It's quite it's quite weak. Even from the title you could just assume,
because it's a basic, it's a basic. You got a plane and you got snakes, but with Samuel Jackson in there, it kind of brings the
there was many fan made videos of this film, various form of literature, like even rappers were talking about snakes on playing in their lyrics. So
it crossed over to pop culture
definitely made its mark.
Yeah, and also I remember Julia Margals, who was in ER, who she played alongside George Clooney, the hot nurse, and also Flex Alexander from One on One on One-on-One, that I know my man X, we grew up on that, so don't hate, appreciate, that's a big show, so seeing Flex bringing that comedic style that we saw like in One-on-One, and Keenan Thompson, Keenan and Kel, PSV, they're in that, and he has a big part. Don't want to spoil it near the end of the film.
And so it's like a lot of what I was talking to my friend about the other day, that people understand with films. It's like you've got your team, Guy Richie, like if you've seen Lock, Stock, most of the actors and the producers are the same in Snatch.
Yeah,
it's like how Tarantino. He's worked with Samuel Jackson numerous times. Spike Lee's worked with John Turturro numerous of times.
Denzel.
This film was part of the New Line Cinema, which has done many Lord of the Rings films. So it's a shame how I'm just seeing how the gross revenue didn't quite live up to expectations of the film. But do
you think it suffered from overhype? Because like I said, I strictly remember I was in school and I saw nothing about magazines, posters. He had them trailers of. It didn't show too much, but he said snakes on a plane.
Just talk about snakes. It wasn't much about the storyline.
Even about the individual characters, because it just only shows Samuel Jackson.
A lot of people didn't really realize that like his name was Neville. Was like
exactly, so
he's the main character, isn't he? So it's just a bit like.
You know what I mean? But I think overall, like, that film is like it's enjoyable.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You can watch it and just feel like it's a good film.
But like, it's not one you watch over and over. Once you've seen it once, you've seen it.
As I said, I've only watched it 2 times. Because it's never been like I've had such I've got to watch this. It's just been sometimes on. I'll be like, let me just pass some time. Let me watch it and it's always nice again to see Samuel Jackson. And this time like from the being the lead titular role. So guys, thanks for watching this collab between the X-Man, yours truly, RichManZ, on Cinema Talk, just talking about like our favorite films of the man, the legend, Samuel Jackson. Please drop in the comment section, and I'll say that. Drop in the comment section about like your favorite like Samuel Jackson films. It could be similar to our ones, it could be not. And we want to come back with another, kind of like discussion on like another legendary like film actor, and we're looking to do Lawrence Fishburne. Deep cover, and also Boys in the Hood, and
all of that
higher learning,
all of that, and many more. So yes, as X said, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more upcoming videos, which will be coming very, very soon. And it's peace to love
fingers.